Yeah, I'm not gonna do X for obvious reasons because X is just a whole cesspool of just craziness right now. So yeah,
Go on
but
Instagram Live.
Instagram Live.
Competitor.
Honestly, if there's a way to do it, I would definitely find that. I think that might be the move. But Riverside also sucks as well. You'll learn that the servers here, once you go live, it's just like sometimes I lag out, sometimes Matt lags out. You might lag out at some point as well. So like, yeah, but we're live. I'm not gonna do a whole intro. You know, I think it's time you just go straight into it. But no, I'm here with Matt. You know, obviously long time guest for sure. But welcome for the first time, Liv.
Thank you. Thank you.
Unfortunate,
Honored to be here.
yeah, fortunate timing, but we're glad that you're
Don't
here.
mind me.
Bring a different perspective to different things. Unfortunately, it's your club. Once again showing that maybe things haven't changed. But I'll leave it there. That's all I gotta say.
If I wanted banter, I would have had Andy host tonight. Okay, TJ, I'm gonna be real.
I thought this was a safe space for struggling Spurs fans. I thought that's why you brought me here.
This is a safe space tonight. Andy's gonna banter me next week. I thought tonight you would be just like an opening arms, like he'd be the guy who just gives like the struggling guy on the side of the sidewalk like a $5.
He gives the old champion gives the new struggling kid around the advice.
Yeah,
of like, everyone's been there. We've done this before, and we've come out stronger. There. Wrong. Not us.
They haven't been there.
Y'all haven't been like this before. Y'all haven't had to be in the freaking doldrums like we are on the daily. It never gets better.
Here's the thing: when you're in the slums for so long, sometimes you see a decent house and it's like, oh snap, it's a mansion. But then you walk in, it's like, oh snap, it's really that like that, But
that was how people were today when they were like, Archie Gray's our next star. Not with what I saw today. Let's go there.
Yeah, no, let's move into the matches. So I'll just obviously start with today. 1-1 over at King Power Stadium. Now, I don't know the last time I said that in the Premier League match, but hey, Leicester's back in the Prem. Jimmy Vardy's back on his BS. Being a troll, being him. But no, he got his first goal of the year. Pedro Porro also did a decent job as well with the header. Great balling from James Maddison to start off the scoring for the match.
He's definitely
I think you lagged. Yeah, TJ had a lag spike. He does it all the time.
Yeah. It's okay.
Happens multiple times.
Yeah.
So we'll wait.
So I'm probably back now. And
yeah, you're back.
What I said before about Riverside being trash, this is what I mean. So that's probably number one. But what I was saying was James Maddison did a good job. He put in a nice cross into Pedro Porro. Porro with a nice header to get everything started. I know personally I was kind of mad because I switched out him for VARDY'S in Fantasy Prem, and I regret that, at least for 1 week. Maybe next week they may be proven, right. But, yeah, I mean, I think Porro is going to be very, important for Spurs going forward. But, yeah, I just wanted to hear from both of you guys in terms of, obviously, it's the first match of the year. Who stood out for you guys? Who you think needs to improve? What changes do you want to see, going forward for the next at least 5 match weeks?
Matthew, you can start. I know you like to talk.
Ladies first. We're respectful on the Off the Volley podcast.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh God. A lot to say. First of all, I think where I get frustrated with this team, and it's continuous, and I feel like I'm saying the same thing every season and every game, is that there's just like a lack of energy around the goal. Meaning, for some reason, we look so good in the build-up and we're playing out of the back. We're pretty strong on the approach, and then we get near the goal and it's just like everything we just built up the entire way up the field is gone. There's no energy to put shots on goal, shots on target. It's just feeling like we're missing some last level of like drive, if that makes sense. Like there's not this, I don't know, fire inside of our players, it looks like, when we're in our final third, which is upsetting because we see all this talent that we're signing. We're seeing names that should have what we're looking for and what I feel like we're missing, but it's not translating from paper to actual gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll touch on that as well. I just think, like, and Anj said it afterwards, it was like, I think we had really good spells of play, but if you're not scoring, it doesn't really matter. I think a lot of that was on the wingers today. I think we had really good positions where we got in, and there was just kind of like a split second of hesitation. I think there was other plays where I just think the wing play was the biggest problem today. I think Johnson kind of has that Mudryk about him where he has the first touch of like a boat anchor, or just like everything that goes off is like a radioactive bomb. It just
bro.
it splurts nowhere.
He plays with Tim's on.
What'd you say?
He's got trampoline feet.
Yeah, precisely. He just wasn't at it today. Sonny was good in the first half. I think some of the build-up he had with Madison in the first half, Leicester really just couldn't handle. Udogie, Madison, Sonny on the left side was just giving him so many headaches. But second half, I just feel like you said, the energy wasn't there. There was definitely lacking. And then by the time we got back into the game after the goal, and they had a spell of play after that where Vardy missed the better opportunity of the two he had. Vicario made a really good save.
Yeah.
But once we got back into the spell of play, we're trying to build the perfect goal rather than someone having the confidence to take the shot.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a problem for us later in the year last year. And I definitely think that's obviously the problem right now. I think that confidence just needs to come. I mean, I think that needs to be stressed on by Ange to be like, okay, guys, I believe in you. You're allowed to be more creative, more open. I'm going to allow you to take a little bit more risk. Because I don't feel like there's a lot of risk. And when you're not having that risk to go, I'm going to be the one to take the shot. After a while, you get caught out in the way that we played. And we got caught out today. And we dropped 2 points that we probably should have held on to. So,
yeah, I think it's upsetting because it's like everyone went into this game with like a very positive feeling. Like, this is not a good Leicester team. Like, let's just be honest. And we were mostly good, but for the team that we're playing, like, I think the performance just wasn't there. And like looking at things, we looked pretty good at the start. Like, it was typical Ange ball, what we were going to expect. Like, I feel like we saw glimpses of the James Maddison that we saw at the beginning of last season. And that was refreshing because he definitely, I feel like, was lacking that energy towards the end of the season, especially connecting with the Porro goal. I think that was refreshing. But with having 70% of possession, I don't feel like we looked like we dominated the game, especially ending up in a tie. It's just like we're still missing that one thing. There were like things that I feel like we saw in the game that were frustrating, especially having brought new players in, talking about finishing, like bringing Solanke in. Like, obviously that's his role. We had a striker in Richarlison, not the right one. We went out looking for others. He had chances, and I feel like it's still same old with like the chances that he's given, which I feel like he had 2 pretty good chances. Neither of them are turned into goals. So it's like we're giving him the opportunities, and we're still missing that last connection. Again, like Matthew mentioned, Brennan Johnson, still frustrating. I say his trampoline feet, which basically every ball that comes in on him is just a rocket off. There's just like something about him that like it's almost there, but it's just like not quite there, and it's really frustrating.
He has that Mudryk thing with him where
it's so upsetting.
His feet are working faster than his brain is.
Yeah,
and it's just he's caught within 2 motions.
Yeah, he's like, there's a couple seconds of like greatness, and you see it, and you're like, oh, okay, I see what they're seeing, and then all of a sudden he's either MIA and doing nothing, or he's jogging up and down looking like he's out on a Sunday walk. Like, there's something that's just missing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with Johnson, obviously that price tag, right? What was it, 50 million, if I'm right?
I think.
Let me check.
I know, no matter what it was, I know it was less than Cole Palmer's. So I will probably cry myself to sleep about that every night for the rest of my life.
40.
Okay. So, I mean, for the most part, obviously, I think Spurs have to stick by him, right? I don't think you guys are going to have to go and buy a winger. Maybe next summer that'll be the move for you guys, but at least for now, you got to deal with the frustrations of no end product for a little bit on the right hand side, unless Richarlison somehow turns into a crazy right winger, or Timo Werner wants to play on the right with Son on the left. But once again, yeah, as I'm saying, your options are kind of
Don't get Matthew started on that one.
Werner's a fate worse than death on that right hand side. He came in for the last 15 minutes there, and he had about as much going on as Brennan did without some of the other stuff that Brennan was doing. Because I don't want to be too hard on him, because he's my player. He actually did a lot defensive wise. He had a lot of defending actions in positions where Porro was up high and we needed a guy to, kind of slow down the counter. And I think he had good spurts there. But just going forward today, outside of the one set piece that no one got on the end of, which was really I don't know if you watched the game today? Were you able to? Yes. Okay. I think someone should have gotten on the end of that, because it went across the whole entire frame of goal. But outside of that, nothing in the regular spell of play made me think that either side of either winger, including Sonny, was much of a danger today.
I feel like that also kind of points back to the issue with our creativity. I feel like today we saw glimpses of the old Madison in terms of last season. When this season started, he was like one of our star players, consistently putting in good performances over and over again. But it's just him. Like, I feel like we saw that again today when Kulusevski came in, like, started pretty well and then quickly disappeared. And I feel like after that substitution, like, we lost a lot of our energy going forward in the attack. And I don't know, like, I feel like sometimes that comes from our subs. Like, I don't feel like they're very proactive. They tend to be more reactionary, which makes me question where we're getting to the point of, like, okay, when do we need to make subs? Are we subbing too late? Do we need to be more active with how we're looking at using our bench? And I think that especially relates to how we look at using our bench when we look at Bentancur getting injured and being out for what I would imagine a pretty significant amount of time.
Yeah, I think that brings great questions up, because obviously here's the thing, like Ange, in terms of style of play, right, you kind of see it, but once again, I know he's had the criticism of making, decisions at the wrong times, especially last season. I think that was a really big stick to his campaign last season, but I also look at it through the lens of not in terms of recruiting players, right? Because right now, I'm looking at the bench that you guys had, and Archie Gray, Bergvall, who baller. I think he needs to be implemented more. Maybe right now he could be the impact sub for you guys. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that.
I think he looked very confident on the ball. I think he looked creative. I feel like he honestly was showing for the ball, like active off the ball, which is a big thing that I feel like a lot of times I don't see out of our players. And he looked confident with both feet, which is another thing that I noticed that Archie Gray did not. He looked very one-footed, which he is, and I feel like that's another big sign that he's kind of being rushed into a position that he might not be ready for.
Right. But yeah, so you have Bergvall, Werner, Kulusevski, Jed Spence, Richarlison, Brandon Austin. Is that the backup goalkeeper?
That's the backup goalie, yeah.
Okay. So Brandon Austin, Ben Davies, and Dragusin.
You're trying not to laugh. I see it in your face. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. That's not really good.
Do you think with Bentancur out, Dragusin becomes a more useful player in terms of defensively, knowing that Bentancur is more of a defensive mid?
I could definitely see, honestly,
especially with like our midfield situation with Basuma and then Archie Gray and Bergvall. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like honestly, Dragusin becomes an important conversation in terms of how we look at our lineup for the next game or so.
It seems like from everything I've been hearing that Spurs are going to, no matter what, they might actually go after another player outside of it. But like a central defensive midfielder is the priority, and it needs to be.
It should be, and it has needed to be, I think, for a season or two at this point.
I think he wanted to give Basuma a shot. I think Basuma has all the physical tools. It's just, like, not there. I mean, like, why are you putting that you're, like, huffing balloons on your Snapchat?
Well, he put on his private story, to be fair. But once again,
nothing on the internet is private, though. Like, you have to be able to connect that. You're grown up, and you're in a professional setting, in one of the most public atmospheres of professional sports. It's not like I'm a teacher at a school. Like, even still, public atmosphere, but on a smaller level. Whereas he's in one of the biggest leagues in the world. Like, you can't be doing that.
And you're getting paid handsomely to not do stuff like that. Like, this is still a job, you know? I mean, it's just embarrassing.
I don't know what's wrong with him, bro. Like, he just seems like the type of guy that's just, like, very immature. He would never mature until, like, he's, like, 80 years old. He's like, we don't
have time for that. Like, athletes don't have time to be stupid when they're young, because, like, this is their prime.
Right.
Never buying from Brighton again. I think if there's one thing that this has shown us, Brighton is like the Tampa Bay Rays. You trade for a player, and he sucks on your team. They come back, they have like 3 guys better, just chilling in their AAA team, and then you give them a whole bunch of money. Like, we'll talk about Caicedo later, because I'm sure we're talking about the City. I'm sure we'll talk about the City Chelsea game.
Bro, I just find it crazy how the best player out of Brighton is Ben White. When people thought he was going to be the biggest flop.
Yeah, I actually remember a lot of the criticism for Ben White, because I think, if I remember correct, he started that first game when Brentford came up, and Ivan Toney just absolutely wrecked him. I mean, he looked like a child out there. He looked like what Archie Gray looked like today.
Yeah.
I think that, like I said, I think there's time for Archie Gray. I think that's their long-term guy that they want to be in that role, but he's not ready right now. They need to get a 6 for probably the next 2 to 3 years. And I can see a situation where maybe they move a guy like, even if they do a makeshift with like maybe Van de Ven there or Porro there, someone else who just has that kind of defensive eye but can still get forward.
That's why I was saying it's interesting with Dragusin. Like, what if he set up like a 4-1 defensive mid, obviously, but kind of have him dropping into a 5 back?
Yeah.
Like, I think that third center back, especially having one as talented as like our 3 center backs are, it's hard to keep him on the bench when the other players that we're looking at aren't on that same level.
Yeah. I think that'd probably require us to get have another center back who's ready, just in case, you know, because if you're playing 3 guys at a time the way we play, someone's inevitably gonna get knocked.
Ben Davies in there. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Ben Davies center defensive mid shifts. I'm.
You will be there, Matthew. I know it.
I might not be there Saturday, so I'm not gonna. Depending on the Everton game, because if not, we play St. James's Park in 13 days. We play the same way we played when Leicester.
What's our next? I'm gonna look at our schedule. I don't know it off the top of my head.
Our next
I'm gonna pull it up. I don't even want to know. I think I'm afraid.
At home Everton, away at Newcastle, at home Arsenal, at home Brentford. I believe is our next.
Wait, hold on. Okay.
Everton Derby that early?
Newcastle.
North London Derby usually is early.
September 15th?
Yeah.
That's crazy, actually.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to.
If we play like that we played today, once Leicester got back in the game, if we do that at St. James's, we're holding like 50.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's not realistic, but we will be held. So, I mean, like, I don't want to be all negative, because there were some things today, like
I know you...
Like Liv said, Madison looked back up to speed, you know. For 85% of that game, the defense was just like rock solid. So there was stuff there, but I mean, you know, just kind of.
Do you think the Madison spark comes from what happened with the England team? Do you think that's the motivation to perform? Like, I don't know, because I feel like he was doing, like, it was so good last season, just dropped off out of nowhere, and now it's like, I don't know what would have been the missing connection.
I think he got rushed back. I think what happened was because he got hurt in the Chelsea game, and then we dropped like 5 of the next 8, and we only had 1 win in that like 8-game stretch, and then he came back in January. So I think it was just kind of like we need you back, even if you're 85% of you. 85% of you seems to be 100% better than whatever Giovanni Lo Celso was putting out on a weekly basis, or Ollie Skip, Hoiberg, nightmare shifts. So I think him not going to the Euros was the best thing for multiple parts, because it gave him some time to recover, and it kind of gave him that chip on his shoulder again of like, hey, you're droppable for your country again. Like, you're not viewed as this guy you were a couple years ago. And I think he has that difference from I don't want to say it like that, because I still think Grealish is a great player, but I feel like Grealish has like some other external interest. Because I feel like if Grealish really, really, really wanted to get back in the England fold, he probably would have forced a move this summer. Where it kind of feels like Maddison's like, okay, I really want to get back in the England fold for this next World Cup, at least. So,
is there a big age difference between those two?
I think they're very similar ages.
I'm curious.
Yeah, I think they're close.
I think Grealish is 28.
I'm going to say I thought Grealish was 28, Maddison was 27.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
I was going to say, I don't know if age played a difference.
But I mean, usually those are kind of like, those are the guys where it's like the last guy in. Yeah. And honestly, if Maddison was fully fit, or at least, he came back to even, 90% of what he was doing at the beginning of the season, I think he would have been in the England squad. I think Southgate really liked him. I think whoever they'll bring in next will probably bring in a very similar-minded guy, unless they throw that money to Pep after Mr. 115 charges over here gets sent down to League 2. Just banter. But, yeah.
The 115 charges jersey is crazy, man.
It is crazy.
I can't get over it.
But no, I think we'll reap the Maddison, we will reap the benefits of Maddison's pain in that way.
Yeah.
And I think we did that. I thought it probably was.
Yeah. But I feel like Maddison has a stigma for starting the season off really, really nice. And then, he always tails off. Like, I remember when Leicester got relegated.
Yeah.
Leicester are doing okay. I know they came into the league with a lot of injuries. Like, Pereira had a torn ACL. They got rid of Kasper Schmeichel. So they had Danny Ward as their starting goalkeeper, which was so idiotic. I don't know why they did that, but they decided to do that. But, yeah, like, he did okay. Like, they weren't getting results. Obviously, they got relegated for a reason. But I do remember Leicester fans are like criticizing him, kind of scapegoating him.
That's why I think it might be a motivator, because it's like he's been so like hit or miss throughout the whole season. Like, he hasn't. When's the last time he put together like a complete solid season? Like, I don't. Going back, like, I feel like, especially with a fresh slate of a New England coach, like, this might be the time for him to use that as a motivator versus he was rushed back from an injury and now he's feeling fit. I don't know.
He needs to be the focal point for
exactly. Like, I feel like this is his moment to pull the attention towards him and grab a fresh slate, the coach for England. Absolutely. If that's his goal going forward, that's fine. But
yeah, I mean, he needs to take it.
I thought, like I said, I felt like he was definitely everything that was positive ran through him. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like we lost creativity as soon as he was pulled off the field, which is a big problem.
I feel like, I don't know if you guys felt like this, and we'll probably just touch on this and then go on, because you've been talking about Tottenham for way too much. We're putting more effort into talking about Tottenham than Tottenham did in the second half.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't really feel like the service was there for Solanke, and obviously I think it's going to take some time to develop some rapport with him, because this was the first time he's ever put on the shirt, even in a preseason game. Didn't even get any closed doors friendlies or anything like that. But
that's why I'm not panicking. You were like texting me after the game, and you were like, "The old Spurs are back," and I was like, "Yeah, but it's the first season."
You know how I am. I'm
just saying.
I am
lose the attitude.
Ooh.
Whoa.
I know how he is. He gets like this every single game. We play and we have one questionable moment, and then all of a sudden, it's like we're over. The world is ending. Tottenham's back to being so terrible again, and it's like this is our first game. Like I don't feel like we can panic yet. The transfer window isn't even closed. There's still time to add players. Do I think we're going to? Probably not. Should we? 100%. But I think, especially with one of our starting attackers, our center forward, having never played a full game competitive match with our team, I'm fine with this. Am I happy with it? No. Am I upset with it? No. I'm fine with it. I think there's definitely room to grow, but I'm not disappointed per se. I'm just fine.
Yeah. Just 1 of 38, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought he got in good positions, and I think that's just kind of like where you're looking at there. I just felt like every time he got the ball, it just seemed like it had to be back to goal. Like no one ever gave him the ball outside of there was the one play, and the ball just kind of like magically moved out of his path, and it just like went out. Like there was really no times where the play was revolving around him, and I think that probably we need to have something going on there. Like I was just thinking during the game, I was like, I couldn't imagine if this is what Ange was presenting to Harry Kane. I'm sure he was getting out of the door immediately, knowing how much Harry Kane needs to touch the ball for him to feel like satisfied in the game. You know, because I mean, he just had him like trying to bother the two center backs the whole entire time, and Harry Kane would just be sitting in the midfield. You know,
Yeah.
so. But yeah, I think it'll get better, but an okay start. But you know, I think you're away at a team that is probably going to get relegated. I think you need to at least show a little bit more oomph in the attacking third.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I definitely think that they need to put more gas on the pedal. They did, it needs to be more ruthlessness in front of the net. So, but look, hopefully things can start to click. I don't know, maybe maybe it's a lineup change, maybe it's a formation change. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, lackluster. Room for improvement. There you go.
Just a fine performance. Like that's really it. It was just like the fine is like the perfect word. There was nothing like blatantly wrong. Nothing that was mind-blowingly fantastic.
Yeah, that's Tottenham Hotspur in 2024.
Yeah, just fine, FC. Just fine.
Just fine, FC.
Everything's fine
here. Really, really privileged to watch probably some of the best football the world has ever seen. If I'm being honest,
with 115 charges.
Allegedly.
Don't forget
Allegedly.
it. Don't forget it.
But no, I'll move on to City versus Chelsea. Honestly, that was, I mean, it was 2-0 or 0-2 depending on how you want to read it. But yeah, Holland's off again, another goal, decently worked goal as well. What a pass from Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, the Bernardo pass was very nice.
Yeah,
I liked it. It had it had Colwell all kinds of messed up because he just didn't know where to go.
Yeah,
I mean, best center back talent I've ever heard. Allegedly, Levi Colwell doesn't know not to block the tall giant Norwegian man who has 100 goals in 100 games.
Oh my god, I feel bad talking about this game, knowing that my boyfriend is a Chelsea fan, but it was
that's unfortunate.
Not their their finest performance.
I can imagine going to a game or watching a game and you're just like, you read like the bench and you're just like, who are these guys? Like, you've never heard of any of these people before. Like,
every time he like mentions a new name, I'm like, where did you just walk up to a random kid, like a 15-year-old, and just be like, do you want to play for the Chelsea Football Club for $100 million? Like, what? Where did you find these people?
I saw someone on Twitter say, someone will just show up this year like fully kitted out, and they just and
they'll just be like, they'll be like, the team's fucking out, let's go.
Yeah, just like that. Actually, knowing that a lot of them are kids, you'd probably get a couple of the mascots this year. Like, you can get a taller one of the mascots. they could probably
They need that kid that Spurs had last year that was doing the push-ups before the game.
Yeah. Where's he on a day like this? We needed some fight.
What's his name? I think his name's Ralph. Where was he today?
That's
The team needed his pre-game energy.
That is the most like British name for a child. If we could have like a 20-second discussion. Ralph.
Tottenham. I gotta look up this because it will show up.
Like our kids are named like Draxler now.
His name is Ralph.
That's crazy, actually.
He did an interview about it too.
Wow.
On Sky Sports.
Hey, yo, big up Sky Sports, yo. Psych.
Huh?
Psych.
Yeah, big ups to Ralph. Ralph, buddy, if you're listening out there, I know Ralph's at the edge of his shit.
Tottenham mascot Ralph. We are your biggest fans.
We need some more. If everyone on our team was like Ralph, we'd be wearing the gold patch, the gold Premier League patch on the side.
Can
of our
I share my screen? Because this interview was hilarious.
Honestly,
I don't know if you can, or if that's just like host privilege.
Oh, I can.
Can you?
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Did that work?
That's cool.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
okay, watch this video. This is my favorite video.
So I found it from my dad. He didn't basically tell me to do it, but I just wanted to do it, so then I'll be famous.
Yeah. Well, you are certainly famous. What did the players say to you?
I asked him if he could have a shirt, but he didn't give it to me, so I just went in there and he gave me his shirt.
Oh, wow. So you've got Sonny's shirt today? Yeah. Oh, you're so... Hey, wow. Look at
It's
that.
just laying on the ground.
We were talking to Vicario, the goalkeeper, and he said that your warm-up gave the players a lot of energy as well. How nice was that to hear?
And he said we couldn't use me because there's lots of injuries.
Anyways, that's like my favorite video of all time.
Yeah, Ralph, buddy, we're probably gonna need you this year as well.
Yeah.
Ralph, if your dad gets a call, pick up.
Yeah. All right, but back on topic of Chelsea having children on their team as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we should probably touch on Chelsea first, and then let me like banter City. The other way around. Touch on City first, then let me banter Chelsea for a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's good because the thing is, Chelsea deserve everything low key.
100%.
But I guess I want to see what you guys thought about Savinho, because when I saw him, first half, because he got injured, unfortunately, but I think everything's good with that. But the way that he was getting past Cucurella with ease, going to his right foot, and he's naturally left-footed as well. To me, I was like, yo, we actually signed the Mahrez regen. Like yeah, that's crazy. How
I saw everyone saying that too. They're like, who let them re-sign Mahrez but make him younger? That was his first game too. He's like only gonna get better as like that's definitely the play here. I think is him on the left and then Foden on the right. Like once Foden gets up, because was Foden hurt or was that always just kind of the plan to be limited for the game?
Yeah, I think he was gonna come on. No, he was coming on as a sub anyway. I think it just came on a little bit earlier because of the injury. But yeah, I think he was giving him an extra, like I guess, half rest or whatever because of the Euros and all that. So, yeah, I think that was the initial plan. I know for a fact that Grealish was supposed to be playing. I think he's injured right now. But, once again, it's either him on the left or Doku, but also Savinho as well, depending on how Pep wants to go. But I guess I could talk about
he's got that. Him and Rico Lewis on the right was just absolute. And I thought Cucurella had a good game. I think that was a very fair exchange between the two of them. But what you guys were doing with the whole, like, you kind of had Lewis there and Savinho there. It was just kind of like the 2-on-1s where you're just pulling it, and there was such a massive gap between Cucurella and the next closest defender because they had to be close to Haaland. I mean, that's just going to be a nightmare for teams this year.
Right.
You guys got him for a steal also.
Well, I mean, when you own the other team that you are doing the transfer business with, it's kind of crazy how that works.
It's just like,
honestly,
I don't know. I like want it to not be allowed, but I know it's not how it works, but still.
They could have did the biggest
It's just like
ever.
home cooking.
They could have did the biggest FU ever and just sign him for like $5 million.
Right.
Yeah.
He could have made up a relegation clause, you know?
Yes, one because
A lot of relegation goals.
what is it? Troyes? I don't.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yep. Yes.
completely different in French. But they went down, so he could have probably had a $0 relegation clause, in the policy if they wanted to. But I mean, that was your one signing so far this summer. I think that's going to be a great signing because he looked really good on both sides, both footed. Can really he has some flair about him too, but he's already kind of old enough to where he's able to do what Pep wants in terms of like ball retention. He's gonna be able to balance the risk out.
Right. And he works hard defensively as well, right? So it's not like he's lazy, like Sané when he was, at City, where he always looking to attack and then not get back defensively. So no, I think you're spot on in terms of versatility, in terms of adapting to Pep's system, to adapt that fast, right, and to have impact on the game, at the rate that he is.
I think there was some injuries there, but I don't really remember the last time outside of like obviously like Holland, and he's not going to. But the last time a attacker started game one,
honestly, I think Jesus.
Yeah, that was maybe what was Jesus 4 or 5 years back?
Yeah.
So the amount of talent that they've brought in since, that
I think off the rip, like you can just tell he's a really well-rounded, like complete player. And with time, like he's just going to continue going up.
Yeah.
Because the amount of attackers that never got a game in at City, like Cole Palmer couldn't, like he got like appearances, but he couldn't get like a game to save his life. And Pep's just like, okay, match week 1, you're my right winger. Actually, you're my left winger. Actually, you're my right winger. I trust you wherever on the pitch with the ball. I think that speaks volumes there.
Yeah, for sure. I thought the low light. I wouldn't even call this a low light, but I think Doku. Here's the thing.
I thought so as well, and that was going to be my question to you. Honestly, he just it's another one of these things, like kind of like a Brennan thing. He's just kind of like a speed merchant. He has maybe like one or two things in his bag in terms of like tricks, but after a couple of times of going up and down at a Premier League level, the defender is going to be able to go, okay, I can tell when he's fainting, and I can tell when he's, gonna just try to run by me,
There's like a repetitiveness.
Yes.
And I feel like you said, Brennan has the same problem.
Yeah.
And it's honestly at this point I feel like any league, that speed will get you only so far.
Yeah. Especially in the
there's gotta be something else.
Fast.
There's got to be something else that you can bring in. I feel like there's moments where he has it, and it's the same issue with honestly a lot of wingers that we talk about, like having these like moments of greatness and then also struggling a lot. That they all have the same problems, and so I feel like it's just a matter of like, can you figure out something else that you can bring consistently that will keep players guessing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right in terms of the one-trick pony thing, because he does that little like. You know what I'm saying? Like he does like a little turtle leg that he goes to his right foot one time, or if he's on the left side, he does the same thing to his left foot. That one moment that he had where he went past, who was it? I'm not sure. Was it Gusto and Coel? And then he tried to cross it to Holland, and then it got blocked again. Like the cross.
Yeah, that was later on in the game, right? Or am I thinking of something else? Oh yeah, that was. Honestly, that's what I think his best role is, Doug. It's just kind of like when you're going up against tired legs, maybe 15, 20-minute shifts for him when the defense is tired. Because I thought he kind of grew into the game. But I think that's why the switch was made to put Savinho. Is Savinho? I've seen both.
He goes by both, if I'm being honest.
That's just how versatile he is. He literally lets you have whatever name you want to. That's easy. That's how versatile. But I think they wanted that on that right side. The kind of Luis, Bernardo, Savio connection was just the absolute problem for Chelsea in that game.
Mm-hmm.
That and Chelsea's attackers can't put anything together. But like I said, we'll touch on Chelsea.
Yeah, no. And before we get to Chelsea, I guess we can talk about. Well, I want to talk about. He said with the one summer sign that we had. The second one, I'm not sure if you guys saw the rumors, but Gundogan apparently might be coming back to Man City, which is insane to me. Like the last time, I don't know. No, City. I think I said in the chat.
Has
City has
City
never
ever
re-signed
re-signed a player?
We never re-signed a player before.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I forgot you guys signed that West Ham right back too. Davine Umwaba or whatever.
Oh yeah, the youngster.
Yeah, he will never play. So Gundogan will probably be your second signing. But
right.
I just forgot about that too.
Yeah, no, it's a good call out because I totally forgot about that as well.
I did too. Just I felt like they signed someone, got him for like $1 million. So
yeah.
As low risk, high reward as you can get there.
Right.
But your thoughts? I'm assuming you're very happy about Gundogan coming back potentially.
See, yes, because the thing is, I think people really wanted that Rodri replacement, which I don't think he is. I think Kovacic is that replacement, but he does it in a different way than Rodri. You can't find someone who does Rodri's role. For me, he's one of one. You know, he's basically I'll call him Busquets on steroids because he gets into the goals as well. But with Gundogan, he brings that midfield stability, right? And I think we low-key missed that last year, even though we won the league and, we won the league and, whatever, like the Club World Cup, all that. But I think in terms of that second striker type of threat, and also I'm not sure what this does for Foden. Because once again, I know for a while, City fans, and that's what I'm worried about with City fans, because City fans will be like, oh, like Foden's best position is center mid, like he should be playing alongside De Bruyne. Then if you put in Gundogan, who had an unbelievable season with Barcelona, just unfortunate that the club is so inept with the way that they think and the way that they spend money that they have to sell pieces of grass for like $1,500 and rely on Spotify memberships. It's just like, for me, it's like, okay, like, you bring back your captain, Kyle Walker, go, bye. If you want to go back to Spurs, you can go back to Spurs, because honestly, I feel like City fans are done with him, bro. But now to answer your question, bro, like I'm hype. I'm mad hype for this signing. I think this brings back a lot of leadership, a lot of IQ to the team, and I think that's something that it only helps. It's not going to hurt us at this point.
And I was going to say, at worst, it just seems like a good squad depth. It never hurts to have good squad depth when you're going for a quadruple, because I feel like that's the one thing you got. I think you guys are going to try to go to just win everything this year. I think Pep, I don't know if that was this year or last year, where it was like Pep was like, I don't really have the passion to go for it. I think I saw that recently, where he's just like, I don't have the passion to go for it. I think if he realizes, like if he decides this is his last year, I think you guys will try to go for everything. So having a guy like Gundogan who can, he's not going to make a fuss if he's not starting a game because he knows he's going to get his time. I think, the worst it can be is you're going to have good squad depth. Right. I did want to touch on the KOVACIC thing, because that was like the biggest surprise to me was how solid you were without Rodri. Because you've made it a point, and it's obviously kind of been a point last year, where in the games where Rodri was hurt, you guys were kind of a little more susceptible to things. There's just kind of that reliance. And there was maybe 2 moments in that game where I felt like you guys were really under any like serious pressure. So I just thought that was the biggest theme of the game, more than kind of the attacking systems you guys had, was just like you guys were able to kind of put in a solid shift against a Chelsea team who like isn't all together yet, but I mean that that's a very talented team. They should be able to just spark a couple of plays based off of pure talent alone. But you guys kind of just felt like a walk in the park,
right?
For a City team, like a conversation that we have about Chelsea every year, though. Like, with all the names that they have and like the talent. Again, same thing with us. I feel like talent's there on paper, not there on game day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, once again, like the way that we kind of built this team, it's sort of like, when we won the league before, and I think I might have spiked out.
You're good on our?
You're good.
Okay, good. So yeah, when we won the league before, when Pep first came in, and we had that whole squad refresh with like Danilo, Walker, like Benjamin, like all those people came in. Like that was like the foundation in terms of how we're setting up. And then, like, if you think about it, like, a lot of those guys aren't there anymore. But for the most part, though, I think with how can I say this? With how Sterling played when and how Sane played, and we went with Grealish and Foden or Bernardo or whoever else was on the right wing for us, and that was low key our platoon spot. They kind of changed the like that was like a more control type of thing versus with Pep it was pace before on
Mm-hmm.
the wings at least. Now I think they're starting to become a mix of both. Like I don't know how we found these guys like Doku. Like we signed Doku very relatively cheap. Obviously Grealish was 100 million. And that was just his release clause, unfortunately. But Savinho was it 40 million?
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Kovacic, I think that was 20 million. Who else? Who else did we sign? Enrico Lewis was obviously our academy player. So, and he's also a player who could also play center mid, right? He could also play CDM. He could also play as a winger if he wanted to as well. So I think what Pep is doing is finding players who can play multiple positions at a very high level, or if not decently high level. Um, and if there's games like, obviously the Champions League is a little bit different this year, but against like I guess, lesser opponents, and not to disrespect anybody in Champions League, because if you're in that competition, you're good. But yeah, I think what he's doing is emphasizing quality over quantity,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's just and it's interesting because people always make that argument about City could put up two teams when in essence that's not true. We just don't have the numbers to do that, but we have the numbers to put out different types of formations and squads and that sort of thing. But enough on City. I think it's time to
I wanted to touch on one thing real quick on City.
yeah.
Just kind of your opinion. Who is the Alvarez replacement? Do you think it's in camp right now, or do you think they'll go out and get somebody?
Honestly, if I'm being honest, I think the Alvarez. I think we might go with the false nine if we're gonna put it in those type of terms, like
Yeah.
the layman terms. But
Uh-huh.
honestly, I feel like we don't really need a backup for him
I
because
was
I
about to
just
say,
think
I said I don't even think you look
right.
for
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I just think in terms of like if Holland doesn't play a game, we can put honestly Savinho can play there if he wanted to. Just
Yeah.
drop in deep. Or maybe just have that void in the middle of the park and just overload the wings. But we can't have Doku in there. That's the only thing. Doku can't play if that's the case because he would just literally just lose the ball every single time. But to answer your question, I don't think we're going to go for a backup striker.
Hmm.
Maybe next summer that would be the case. But yeah, I think it's hard to find a backup striker of Julian Alvarez's level again for that less, for that much money that we gotten from River Plate. I think it was like 15 million. Like that, like unless we get
What
somebody
a
from
deal then, by the way, because
yeah, for sure.
115 to 15. That's
Yeah, how are you guys making deals like this? Like, what is your office doing?
I think you see that shirt in the background.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
They know how to do business, whether it's hook or crook. They can do business.
Hey, under the table, in the books, yeah, he's right, man. Like it gets done either way.
The day they get like really swindled will probably be the day the Premier League ends. Like the biggest swindle they've probably had was like Calvin Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, at that point, like Tottenham has 5 worst signings in the last 10 years.
Actually, I would go Mangala because he was like 50 million.
Yeah, but that was so long ago. I mean,
Yeah,
that
true.
wasn't a Pep. That was who was the manager before? I'm blanking. Pellegrini.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I think you'd be fine. I was just wondering if you felt like that was an area of concern at all. If Holland, had to miss a game or two, or squad rotation wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think because we did it before without Holland, right? And when Aguero
Yeah.
was injured during the COVID year, he went false nine with De Bruyne, false nine with Phil Foden, and they excelled. We even tried Sterling there at some points, and you've seen how that turned out. But
I feel like there's so much talent on City. It's like whatever
Yeah.
they do, we'll find a way to work
Yeah.
somehow.
yeah, Pep's
Which
crazy.
is sickening to say.
Honestly, it's crazy how Pep thinks. Like the stuff that you don't even think about. He's probably thinking about like some two-back formation with like
Yeah.
2 strikers and like 1 holding midfielder. And yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, man.
I went to see them in Columbus. Have you seen? I'm sure you've seen City Live at least once or twice.
I have not.
You never seen City
How
Live?
have we seen City Live and you haven't?
They've never gone to Philly.
That's crazy. But
Wow.
it's honestly kind of distracting to the game to watch him live because he's always up doing something. And I'm sure you've seen it on TV. But he's either
He's no
just, like,
chill.
and he's got that hand talking about him too. So it's just so like vibrant and everything, just like so much energy and stuff like that. I don't know how he runs or how he ticks. But I mean, the best Premier League manager of this era, I'd say, and probably only maybe one or two rival him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Mourinho and Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yeah,
and
those would be the two.
Yeah, I think Sir Alex. I think here's the thing: if he does this 5 in a row, and we'll talk about Chelsea, but this is my last point. If he does a 5 in a row, he has to be the greatest manager of all time. If we beat the 115, if we beat 115, he has to be the best manager of all time in the Premier League, and Man City has to be the greatest team of all time. That there's no questions about it.
How much of that would have been his fault though? I mean, it's not kind of like, it's not like a Michigan sign stealing thing, for lack of a better comparison, where it's like this is on the field actually affecting the outcomes of games. I mean, what is inflating, Etihad Airlines sponsorship deals allegedly? I mean, Pep was going to win regardless. Five in a row would be incredible though.
Well, here's the thing. Certain Arsenal fans, they will say, oh, it's because he was able to buy these players and that's how he's able to build this team.
They're spending $25 million on a backup goalie today. Just wanted to. We could talk about that.
Get that out there.
Yeah, bro. Nah,
but they're
I want Arsenal's head too.
Tottenham spend $60 million on trash players, and Arsenal still want to pocket watch us.
Right.
I have no clue. Just throw our money away.
I'm not gonna get into Arsenal fans right now, especially on Twitter, because I want to see this flame session on Chelsea from you two.
When is you guys play Arsenal soon, right?
Yeah,
I think you guys play them the week after they play Spurs.
Yeah, I think
I think Arsenal has like a rough run in that span of the season.
I think their next 3 of their next 4 are Villa, Spurs, and City.
Oh man, I hope they go 0 for 3, bro.
And I think all 3 of them are away from home. Like, they had an awful start to this. They have an awful start to the season.
I'm so sorry for them.
Yeah. Charge 116 might be the Savio charge. 117 is whatever they did to start Arsenal's schedule for the season, man. Because I don't know how your first 3 away days are probably 3 of the 4 hardest for Arsenal specifically. Because Villa Park's a nightmare for anyone. Spurs is a nightmare for rivals in Manchester City, and then Manchester City's just them,
Damn.
You can play Manchester City on Mars. You have a poor advantage.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, bro. Well, I don't feel bad for them because they said they can win the league anyway, and you have the best center backs in the world, and you have the best winger in the world. You know what I'm saying?
No, there were a few of them celebrating the Bentancur injury today. Don't feel bad for any of them.
Wow.
Awful.
Oh, yeah, also, prayers for Bentancur, bro. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah. He seemed, I guess he was up and well. He was talking in the locker room. So hopefully it's nothing serious.
They gave like a relatively positive update for the time being, but I definitely don't foresee it being a quick return. The way that he went down and the immediate reaction.
A goal for us against Everton on Saturday. No. Let's just say that.
No.
Right.
But on to Chelsea, on to what everyone's came to see.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
flame session.
Everyone else go ahead, and then I'll go ahead, or
I have to tread lightly on this one. So
let's do it. Who's first?
Ladies first.
Yeah.
I have to tread lightly, Matthew. You know this.
I've told Anthony everything that you could probably say and worse, so it's not going to hurt. Do not give that club fucking glove hands.
What are they doing? Like, every time something comes out, every time some bit of news emerges, I just take a step back and I say, thank God that I support Tottenham. And you never would have thought you would hear that from anyone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you're hearing it from me right now. That is the best decision I ever made in my life. And that carries a lot of baggage as a Tottenham fan. Because there's not a lot to say. J-League
World Champion.
J-League World Champ.
Come on.
J-League World Champion.
Just like I look at these players and their performances that they put out, and I'm just like, do they train together? Like, is there any sense of like unison? It's like, do you even know how to play a team sport? Like, it's just like there's together in a team that has so much money spent on it. It's just like, and then like bring in a new coach, and I don't feel like anything changes. So it's just like
it gives more instability, because at least you start
there's no
training
consistency.
together. Yeah,
and then you're bringing in these like random players that you have 13 of already. Nothing that they do makes sense, and the performances show that. Matthew, go ahead.
I'll let TJ go, because I'll go for 30 minutes if allowed.
If you go too long, I'm leaving, because I do have to go eventually.
Yeah.
When you can't even start talking, you know it's bad.
I have that kind of effect on people. I'll just gap for long enough, they'll just leave me. But TJ, continue.
Don't stop making fun of me. I hang out. I talk to you all the time.
I didn't say it was. Now you're. We can pause for a second. That just feels like she told on herself. But that's a different story for a different day. All right, TJ, go.
Leave the sound effects out of it.
TJ, go ahead, brother.
Here's the thing. What's that dude? So when I was watching the game, right, and obviously they
said, "What's that dude?" There's so many players on Chelsea, he doesn't even know the names.
Right. I saw the report saying that obviously Sterling didn't make the squad.
Yeah.
Right, and his agent put out a statement wanting clarity from the club. For me, I was like, okay, here we go. Right, here we go. Because one,
he's
it's
got the
double
popcorn
noted
out.
for me. Yeah, the way that he treated Man City after he left the club, horrendous. So that's why City doesn't like him from that point. But on to Chelsea. The fact that they signed Madueke, they signed Mudryk, they signed Sterling, they signed Neto, they signed Palmer, they signed, my goodness, I can go on and on. I forgot who else did they sign?
They paid a ton for Nkunku. I don't know when they signed him.
Like
Jim
Smith from whatever.
Nkunku was so
when
weird.
Was
it was a deal from 2022 set for 2023, and he didn't.
It was like pre-decided on.
Yeah, that was a summer 2022 move, and he didn't make his first like actual non-preseason appearance until like January of 2024.
Yeah.
Because he got hurt in their last preseason game last year against Dortmund, because I was there. I mean...
Hold on, I'm trying to pull up this picture. Hold on, where is it at?
Once you pull it up, put it on the screen so I can see what you're talking about.
I will. I definitely will. Come on, computer. If it wants to load. I guess Chelsea just logged me out of their VPN because they didn't want me to flame them.
I was about to say
they blocked you.
They knew what was going to happen.
They knew what was happening. Someone insider leak.
When I saw this, hold on, let me share my screen.
It's probably Viega, isn't it? The left back, Afro.
Yes. Bro, when I saw him getting ready to play, bro, I was like, who is this guy, bro? Like, for real, like I was just like, bro, like I've never seen this dude ever in my life. Had to do some research.
He's from Basel.
Right, like a random Swiss, well, they're not random, but a Swiss club who, I mean, the last great talent that they have, I mean, no disrespect, was Mo Salah to them, but they're signing these players, like Caleb Wiley from Atlanta United. What are you going to do with him? Like Gaga Sonina. You're going to sign... Tosin Adarabioyo. You're gonna sign. Now they're gonna sign Joao Felix.
They signed another guy, Mark. I don't know how to say his last name. Guiu.
Yeah, he played though. He actually at least got time.
Terrible.
He spoiled my Joao Felix thing, because that's going to be part of my rant.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna let you do it.
Don't say anything. Let Matthew cook for a second. I think he needs to go.
No. I need TJ to finish, because like I said, I don't trust myself to stop.
I just don't understand what Bowley's approach is. Like he's moving like
no
it's the LA Dodgers.
He's an MLB guy. He's trying to build an MLB team. The problem is, when you suck in the MLB, you get a top 10 pick in the draft. You don't get relegated. You don't get you make the same amount of money every single year regardless.
Right.
You know, he's trying to treat Chelsea Football Club like people make a joke that they're like, oh, they're the London Dodgers. They might as well be the London Dodgers. But they're actually not the one. They're probably like the London New York Mets because they spend on players and they can't hit anything.
Oh, I love Met slander, bro. Oh, I love that. Oh,
You're out of my realm. You brought baseball into it, and I'm out.
Actually, what it is, and it was funny because I was talking to Anthony about this. They are the beginning of the trust the process Sixers to me.
Oh, snap.
Like, you remember, like, because you're a Sixers fan, you remember at the beginning of it when you're like, oh, we're just going to get really good. We're going to just farm all this talent. And for about 6 or 7 years, we're just going to collect 5 titles and all of this suffering will be worth it. That's exactly what this is, except, like, you can't promise that one of these guys is going to turn into a Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons pre-PTSD or, you know, Markelle Fultz minus the yips, you know?
Right.
Like, actually, that's kind of what they are. They're Markelle Fultz when he got the yips. This Chelsea team has the yips. Palmer was dead yesterday. And that was the guy who carried their club. If they get what they got from Cole Palmer throughout the season, they're in massive trouble. Because I forgot Cole Palmer was out there until he got a touch of the ball in like the 80th minute. And I was like, Cole Palmer's playing today.
Here's the thing, right? If he's going to be a ghost this season, I think now everybody would be like, oh, City won the deal. Because I see this narrative as well. And not to talk about City, but they're like, oh, like City, you know, that's the one who got away.
Yeah.
Bro, what? Do you not see who's on our right wing right now?
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that's because before everyone knew, like, people still don't know who this Savinho is going to be.
Right.
I think if Savinho, like, comes good, which he's going to, he just seems way too talented to not become good.
Mm-hmm.
I think people will be like, okay, I could see why they sold on Palmer. I understood when they sold on Palmer to begin with. Foden was the right wing guy. It was always going to be Foden. It was always going to be Doku. It was always going to be Grealish. You know, he was 4th or 5th choice winger at City, and that tells you how good City's depth is.
Right.
Where a guy like Cole Palmer is that far down the depth chart.
No, but you're right though in terms of, like, once again, like with Chelsea though, right? By his logic, him being or his being top goalies, if Palmer somehow doesn't work, he's gonna bring in some Brazilian kid.
Yeah,
and he already did that.
Esteval, yeah.
And he's also right now he's on trial for murder.
Wait,
no,
what?
not IRL.
Wait,
not really.
Oh, okay.
But he did actually like. I don't want to show the video because it's actually like bad.
Did he break? Did he like juke someone out of their leg?
No, he pulled a Harry Kane. If you know what I mean.
Oh,
like undercut the guy, went for a header.
Oh,
and then
gotcha.
The dude literally like stiffened up.
I was about to say, like, Sky a penalty at the World Cup? Like, I didn't know what you meant by the...
Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna have to show you guys. Hold on.
Yeah, I was about to say that he didn't really... He left that very varied for what that actually could have meant.
Yeah, I don't think I could find it, but is this it?
Well, I mean, if you've seen it, I'm sure it's out there because, I mean, it was probably an American thing.
Yeah,
like if an American thing, it's probably out there.
Yeah, you can find it on Twitter. You just type in Esteval, and I think the defender's name was Patrick or something like that. But yeah, bro. But honestly, it was like it was a tough situation. It wasn't like his fault. It was like one of those type of situations. But yeah, back to Chelsea.
Back to the point of like always replacing guys who like. They're not giving players chances to grow.
They're not giving players chances to grow. They're not giving managers chances to grow. They're not giving the chefs a chance to grow. They're not giving the groundskeeper a chance to grow. They're not even letting the security a chance to grow. Like, that literally that place is there for like the grave. Like that's literally Chelsea graveyard, bro. Stamford Graveyard, not Stamford Bridge. Stamford Graveyard, because the fact that you see, like, how, like, imagine being a Chelsea player, right? Waking up in the morning you're like, oh man, I gotta go to training. Like, do you think all 44 of those people know who they are? Like, imagine going to like the gym, like or like the cafeteria before like training, right? And like being a chef, you're like, oh snap, I don't know who this guy is, but he's asking me for his usual order. And
Yeah.
you're just like, that
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Now imagine like trying to build a rapport on the pitch, and I think that's something we've discussed before. Is like having competition is a bad thing. Having too much competition to where no one is improving. No one's able to improve because you're not getting enough reps. You're not getting enough. You don't have the confidence to do what you want to do because you're so fearful of like, if I ping, even if I do something creative, if I ping it wrong, next game someone's gonna be right there on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, like I said, it's way too much competition to the point where it's a hindrance. And the funny thing is, you talk about like guys getting dropped. I feel like the guys that they don't drop are the guys that they need to drop. Like, why is Robert Sanchez? Robert Sanchez might be the worst non-relegation threatened goalkeeper in the league.
Right.
Like he's like that's a goalie who like he has Matt Turner levels of like ball distribution, where like twice a game you just know it's gonna. There was the one play in the game where he's passing out, and Kevin De Bruyne was able to pick. Like, do you know how lazy you have to be looking up to not realize Kevin De Bruyne? He's literally like red,
right,
with a blue shirt on. He's a red person with a blue. He sticks out like a sore thumb.
Let me talk.
Yeah, he's you let that guy just like come up unmarked on a pass out, and luckily they didn't concede from it. But he's awful.
Yeah,
I mean,
sucks.
He's awful. The guy that they gave the captain's armband to, Enzo Fernandez. For a while, I maintained that Mudryk was the biggest ripoff. And Mudryk was a big ripoff. Honestly, I think that was just money to go to the Ukraine war fund with Russia. Chelsea just had like a secret deal, like, hey, some of this goes to Zelensky. But
I mean, they had to, bro. I mean, look at their old owner, bro. That was the incentive.
Abramovich, yeah, it was one last dig at Abramovich. The first dig was ruining the club he spent $1 gazillion to and putting it in the graveyard. But back on Enzo. Deep lying playmaker. Can't play deep because he can't defend. Can't play make outside of maybe put one good pass in a game. Whenever he's an advanced playmaker, they played him as an advanced playmaker. He was awful yesterday. He might have been the worst Chelsea player yesterday.
Bro, and you talk about Brighton being the biggest finessers? Nah, bro. That
Benfica?
Yeah, Benfica for sure. Benfica gets top prize.
How people keep buying attackers from there, because Goncalo Ramos just went for crazy money last year. And everyone's like, well, he didn't even put up as good of numbers as Nunez or Felix or Enzo in this. Well, they didn't really have. They had Enzo for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And they flipped him to Chelsea. So, I mean, but just like, I don't know the plan here. I just keep like Chelsea fans keep on telling me, like, oh, you'll see. Yeah, like I'm.
It's FIFA career mode.
Yeah. It's a team where you're just like, if we get enough good players, surely it can't fail. But it's failing. Yeah. I mean,
nothing seems like it's changing because
I pulled it up today because I was interested because they did sign Joao Felix, which, by the way, everywhere he goes, they hate him. He cost Portugal the Euros. He cost Ronaldo. I'm a Ronaldo guy. He cost my goat. Don't look at me like that. He cost Ronaldo. He cost my goat the Euros. And Chelsea's like, that's the guy we want to put money on.
Why are you shocked? That's what they've been doing.
At a certain point,
at what point? It's like, what's like, everyone always says like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Chelsea is literally putting that into action.
I think that's fair. I just don't get it. But I mean, like what's Felix going to do there now? Now they have more without getting rid of, because even if they get rid of Sterling, was Sterling really in the plans this year?
No.
Like, it was always Nkunku, Neto, Palmer, Medweke, Mudryk for some reason. You know, what's Felix going to do there that none of those guys can't do, while also not, like, simultaneously being so bad that literally every other club, like, every other club that has had him, including Chelsea before, the first thing Pochettino did when he got in Chelsea, he's like, get this guy away from my team. He's dreadful. You know, like the one thing Pochettino actually stood on was, this guy, not going to work here.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and notice something. When Pochettino had to drop Enzo at the end of the year last year, that's when they got hot.
Right.
Because you can't put Enzo next to Caicedo. They spent
Right.
220 on a midfield, a two-man pivot. First off, for them to get absolutely rinsed by Kovacic.
Oh,
Kovacic
poetic
walked
justice,
by
bro.
them like they were both Ralph, the little Tottenham
poetic
kid.
justice.
I mean, it was disgusting.
Don't watch what you say about Ralph.
Okay, honestly, Ralph would have put up knowing Ralph's energy and his passion for his club, he would not let Kovacic dust him the way Enzo.
My favorite thing to do is look at player ratings on FOMO like after the fact.
Yeah.
And I feel like for some reason, like Chelsea players always seem inflated in terms of like what their FOMO ranking is versus what they look like.
Top bullies on social media.
Fernando's getting a
24/7.
6.6.
Right now, there's one person watching. It's probably top bully right now, if I'm being honest.
Someone send, if it's not him, someone find his email and send it to him. But like, just in general, the highest player rating today from Chelsea was Lavia.
Romeo
Who
Lavia.
is, first of all, who is that? I don't watch Chelsea enough to like know these people, but
Lavia's a City
7.1.
Academy graduate, so you're gonna get TJ bothered.
Sorry, 7.1 is their highest player rating.
Lavia actually wasn't bad. I'll say that.
Whereas their highest player rating for City was an 8.6.
And who was that? I'm interested.
Kovacic.
Kovacic? Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, they gave Kovacic, like, I said it like when it happened. They literally gave him like the keys to the city. They were just like,
had a 7.0.
Who did?
Cucurella.
He's probably their other better player. You gotta understand.
I just think some of these that are on here are just
Holland
crazy.
Is trembling.
Gusto had a 5.8. A 5.8 and didn't get subbed off. Like, I don't know. I just like look at these and I'm like, there's some stats that are formulating these numbers.
Yeah. That's why you can't read what they just put on a FOTMob rating. You have to actually watch games.
Yeah, no, exactly. But like,
ratings.
even just off first glance, a team that has their overall team rating, not having done crazy research. If someone is just looking at this, 6.4. City's average rating, 7.6. Like, at first glance, if someone, like, a casual fan was looking at this, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that showed in the play. Like I said, I felt like there was a lot of Chelsea fans, and I mean, obviously, because, it was a tough game. Like, you're getting City.
It's not an easy game at all.
It's never an easy game, unless you're Tottenham for, like, 6 years.
Right.
And it was, like, the easiest game for us for some reason, and then we'd lose to, like, Burnley the next week.
And we probably will.
I mean, the amount of just, like, kind of, like, forced positivity, it feels like in the Chelsea community, if you say anything wrong about these players, it's like a shark pit.
Yeah.
Like, there's people who are just like,
anytime you talk about Chelsea as a team, you just have to tread carefully. Because I feel like they're in this state of, like, brainwashed into thinking that they're in that period of, like, something good is coming.
Yeah.
That they're like, no, like, we're fine, we're doing fine. Yeah. They like, have blinders on of, like, they're only looking at Chelsea and everything else is just, like, happening and they're not paying attention to it.
I think it's just because the dopamine rush you get when you get a transfer. Like, imagine having 40 of those in 3 seasons. You'd probably
Oh,
think, oh my god. At
But
some
at what
point,
point are you like, we keep having these transfers and nothing's coming from it? Like, do you not think that they get to a point where it's like,
no.
enough is enough?
If you keep on touching the same dopamine cell in the body and just bang bang, like there's reasons.
Even like, I think
Yeah.
about this, and this is probably such a bad analogy, but like eating a piece of candy, like you eventually get bored of the candy and you want something different. It's like sweet and salty. Like I'm eating chips, like eventually I'm gonna want something sweet. So it's like, do you not think they're dealing with that in their heads? I don't know. I have to go, but I'm just gonna put that out there. That's
for sure.
2 cents. Sorry I have to run, but it's great chatting to you guys. Thank you for letting me my brains out.
Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, great debut, unlike other players.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll catch you guys again, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Thank you again, Liv.
All right. What, you want to go into the Union crew now and then wrap up here?
Yeah, I think so. I think we got touched that for a little bit.
Because I think that's the thing everyone's waiting on is some MLS content. I think everyone wants some MLS content.
First time in a long time, bro. Because the last time I posted anything MLS related, bro, I got mad heat from the Union fan base. But look, here's the thing. What I was saying was facts. The club was absolutely BSing it for no reason. They're being cheap, and the fans weren't being, I guess, considered at the time. Now they want to act like they're considering the fans, and they want to perform now in the League Cup, which cool, right? I know fans beforehand were saying, "Oh, this tournament doesn't mean anything." Now I see fans trying to say, "Oh, like it's good for the players, but the cup doesn't mean anything." If we beat you guys and we make it to the final and we somehow win that, which I don't think we're gonna win. I mean, we're not gonna beat you guys. I'll just say that straight up. But I still want to talk about the game. If we somehow win this tournament, will people be like, "Oh, this doesn't mean anything. Like this is just a throwaway trophy," or would the notion be, "Oh my gosh, like we won, we won a trophy." You know what I'm saying? That's where the Jim Curtin, the delusion comes in, and everyone's like, "Oh, we got to keep him for 5-10 more years," and then we go into MLS play and we just start losing it again. No, I think the way that this game is set up, you guys are going to have the ball, I'll say 70% of the time. I like the way that Nancy's playing right now. I mean, how he played last season as well, but I like the way that his team is set up. And you've seen it more than I have, Just in terms of how rigid the Union play versus how fluid Columbus plays, I think it could be an interesting game or it could be a blowout just because of the domination factor of it. I'm not sure what you were thinking about it, but I do know that our leading goal scorer in the tournament, Ty Barrybo, he's out with a red card, so he's not going to be able to play. So that's a big blow to us. So that is also a big factor, huge factor, not just big, huge. Going into Wednesday night. But yeah, in terms, I guess for you, like, what do you think about this matchup, bro?
Well, I mean, I have a couple of friends. Like I said, I've mentioned to you that like I kind of have a couple of Philly buddies, so it is really fun to kind of see that come to fruition. When this is kind of like the Eastern Conference Finals in a sense here. I haven't really watched enough of the Union, so like I said, I kind of default to you there. I take your word from it, and the fact that you guys are out of the playoff positions in the MLS, where 60% of the teams are in a playoff position, just by how the playoffs work. I think that's probably not a good sign for you guys. I mean, I'm sure you know that. Like you said, you don't really think you're going to win. But I think it's a cup competition. And, both teams have been playing, 2 games a week. They've been you guys have been at it for longer because we had the first round. We had the knockout stage bye, courtesy of winning the East last year and winning the MLS itself in general. We had the first round bye. But I mean, I think, the way Nancy just has this team set up. I mean, I kind of joked about it before where I've put out there that Manchester City's the second best team I've ever seen play behind the Columbus Crew. I mean, when they're on their day, I mean, when Rossi's cooking, Cucho's cooking, Ramirez, that's an absolutely deadly front three for this league.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And the defensive reinforcements, like once DaQuan Jones gets fully acclimated into the system, and Camacho's there, Morera's there, I mean, this team's just going to be completely set up in every single facet to not only compete in a competition like this, but I think just to kind of make a run to go back-to-back in the Cup. So like I said, I think it'll be a great challenge, and obviously you guys have some sort of pedigree despite the way that the season's gone. It says you're reconnecting. So
all right, I think I'm back. I
Yeah,
did
you
hear
are.
what you were saying before. For some reason, like it lags out from my end, like my feed, and obviously like my audio. But I can still
Wait,
hear you like
when
clear.
you're like reconnecting, you still hear me? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, as I was saying, I think the team's very well set up. As a Browns fan too, the same guy that runs the crew runs the Browns, Jim Haslam, and I think a lot of the lessons he's learned, like doing the crew, I actually think he puts towards the Browns rather than the other way around, where they're kind of like, he's just like, take my card,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you think you need, Willie, go out there, get whatever you need. It's like you're going out to shop, you're
Man,
going
I
to
wish.
Sheets or something.
I wish.
Yeah, it's honestly complete opposite. Like I said, probably the team out of all my sports teams, the team that's probably doing me right now is the Columbus Crew.
That's crazy, actually.
I mean, they've just been the last 18 months have just been absolutely incredible under Wilfred Nancy. Probably the best manager in the league right now. So I think we'll have that gap there too. So I mean, if we're on our game, I think it'll probably be smoother sailing for us. But it's a competition. It's always, the magic of a cup. And the fact that Philly's been in, like, they made the run the year before to the league final. Like, they know how to they've made the run this year. They know how to handle these type of games. And I think they'll be able to, if we don't score early and you guys are able to stay in it and soak up the pressure and counter, I think that's where your best opportunities will come.
Mm-hmm.
So, but either way, it's Wednesday. Very excited either way. And if we lose, I won't mind losing to my buddies over in Philadelphia. If it's not gonna.
Yeah,
but I mean,
no, definitely no. And it's likewise as well because I think Columbus is the best team in MLS. Forget about LAFC. I'm not going to give them any credit. I don't care how good, who they bring in. It doesn't matter to me. Like I don't recognize them at all. No,
Gareth
like
Bale PTSD.
Right, they basically are like Solo Sokoa, bro. Like I don't recognize that bull. Like Roman Reigns is Columbus Crew, bro. Like that's the real.
I'm happy you didn't make those analogies when Liv was here, because Liv just for some reason hates WWE.
Really?
Like I've tried to get her around on it, and I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And she's like, what are you talking about? Why are you being a nerd? And I'm like, you gotta watch this. It's like I don't know. But yeah, I mean, just the LAFC definitely gives like fake tribal chief, like they're just like, oh, here we go, we signed Hugo Lloris, and I'm just like, all right, bro, fries in the bag,
right?
Yeah,
bro.
So honestly, whoever wins, I hope they get LAFC in the final, just so they can beat them. Mm-hmm. I'd love to put another dagger in the LAFC hearts again this year, and I'm sure you'd like to exact at least a little bit of revenge from them.
Yeah, because I'm not sure who. I mean, Columbus will host either way.
I believe so. Yes.
Yes, I think you guys had to hire. I don't know if it's coefficient.
Yeah, they didn't qualify. It was Club America who was the 1 seed on that side of the bracket because they won Liga MX.
Right.
So they had to still qualify through the which it's not hard to qualify in these. I'm pretty sure the top 2 qualify. So it's not hard to qualify out of. But I mean, I it probably would be Columbus to host.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm not sure if we win, I'm not sure if we will host the final or not. I think we would.
I don't know if the league would like that. You know how it goes.
Bro, I don't
Don Garber comes in there and goes, we're not doing anything in Chester, Pennsylvania. You're moving that You're moving that out there. At least Columbus is a metropolis. You know, they have that outside of Philly. I mean, that'd be like us having something in like Dublin. You know, like Chester, Pennsylvania just doesn't have the same ring to it as Los Angeles, California.
And the thing is, like, that stadium is not built to host anything of that caliber, bro. If we're being honest, you know, like, I mean, you probably seen the stadium.
I've seen videos of the stadium. Yes.
Yeah, bro. Like, it's very, very small. Lower.com makes that's like a UFO compared to compared to Subaru Park or whatever you want to call it.
It's beautiful, by the way. You got to come to Columbus one time, just catch a game.
Because I'm trying to watch some college football, bro. Like, obviously, like playing soccer. I didn't have a chance to actually experience that.
You're a Rutgers guy there too.
Yeah.
So you going to the Horseshoe? that'll be it's incredible. I mean, it's because it seats like 105,000. So, and actually, where I go to play pickup, it's right. The place I go to play pickup is like right outside of the stadium.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it's actually really sick because it's just like the OSU practice turf fields outside. Yeah. They just have soccer nets there, so you go and you play pickup.
Oh, snap!
And it's sick because you get late at night, you're out there playing, and you can just see like the stadium in the background. It's like a really cool like aesthetic type thing.
Snap. That's like some Volta football type of stuff. Bro.
Yes, 100%. It feels it feels Volta.
Yeah, that's tough. That's valid.
But 100%, man. I'm excited for the game on Wednesday. I haven't decided if I'm going to go yet. I might actually try to go out there and go catch the game. But do you want to do predictions real quick, and then we'll just sign off on that?
Yeah, for sure. You know what?
He's wanting to back his boys. I could see it. I know you want to back your boys.
I think the most realistic would be like a 1-1, and like we won on penalties just because we have Andre Blake. I don't really rate Schulte like that.
Well, that's gonna hurt. That might start a conversation because I think Schulte's great. I could see him being in the national team conversation.
Oh, snap.
Maybe not the starter, but I could see him being in a roster.
Okay.
For the national team.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Like there's no dig at him either. The floor is. Yeah, I mean, the floor is the standard. Let's be honest. I kind of messed up wording, but it kind of makes sense anyway. But yeah, bro. Like our backup goalkeeper is Sean Johnson or Ethan Horvath.
Horvath had a howler. If we're talking, he pulled a Stefan on. So I mean, no goalkeeper. He's really safe right now.
Honestly, I feel like either of us could play goalkeeper, and we'll do just as well as these guys right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you couldn't have been. Honestly, it opens up a spot for, Schulte or whoever, coaching or. There's a spot there, and obviously I because we also had a penalty shootout. Both of us won on penalty shootouts on Saturday.
Yep.
I trust Schulte to go 1-on-1 with Andre Blake in a situation like that.
Okay.
But I'll go 2-1. Mm-hmm. I think the game will be a lot closer than the trajectories of the teams currently would dictate. Just because of the cup, it's just like a one-off game. And both teams have kind of had similar fatigue, similar kind of struggles. And it is, teams tend to kind of get a little more stuck in when they know it's kind of like a one game thing.
Right.
And I just think at the end, there'll be a little too much Crew for the Union. So I'll go 2-1 Crew.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, if I was being a neutral, that would be my score line as well. So
but you gotta back your boys.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of times on this pod this year where I'm going to probably have to back Tottenham in situations that I know they're not going to win. You know? So
sure.
You don't have to do that with City ever. I mean, you can go into a City game thinking they could beat anybody. So that's kind of how I feel with the Crew. I back the Crew against anyone in North America. I'll just back my team.
Right. And honestly, and this will probably be my last few words, but it gives you that different type of perspective as well. I feel like if you're the best team, you have the most logic, if that makes any sense. Not to say like
Yeah.
people are delusional for not being winning trophies,
Uh-huh.
but in terms of just like, I guess, results, you're kind of like okay with losing, if that makes any sense. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah. Well, I think if we're touching more on City, I think it's kind of different than the Crew, because the Crew have, despite winning the cup, we've won the cup 3 times. We've never won the Supporters Shield for the best record in the regular season.
And we have
So,
once.
but just kind of like the City thing. It's just kind of like, at a certain point there's a gear that your team is going to get to, where you just go like, we'll play it how it is. There was points last year. Arsenal really probably had about as clean a bill of health as you're going to get, and you had De Bruyne out for half the year and other injuries, and you were still able to get it over the line.
Yeah.
I just kind of feel like I'm in the same position there too with this team, where even if stuff's going wrong, I think there's enough of an energy around the team to carry it through.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. But yeah, bro, I'm excited for this game. I think two styles do clash. So obviously it's going to be a very defensive game for the Philadelphia Union, but I'm excited to see how, because we also lost Jose Martinez.
Yeah.
And that's honestly a really, really big loss, just because, I mean, we signed somebody to replace him, John Jack from FC Metz. I'm not sure how good he is. I haven't really seen him play, if I'm being honest. But, I mean, we signed somebody to fill in that position. I'm not sure if he's going to start. Look, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think Chucho is going to go crazy, though. Yeah, I think he's going to have a day. But we will see. Like I say, all the time, we will see. Yeah, I think that's all that's on my mind for now.
I mean, that's all I really want. I think we can add on the subject. I think it'll be a good game. I think we have a good week ahead of us. Like, it's kind of, everything's kind of kicking into full swing. So I mean, it's the best time of the year, because right now all of us still kind of have hope. A little bit of mine was drained today for my Premier League team, but we can put our hopes in other facets of life. And but I appreciate you having me on again, man.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate you hopping on. Appreciate Liv also hopping on as well. Whoever this one person is on Twitch, thank you. I'm not sure why you're watching, but
cracking up.
Thank you. YouTube, this will be on YouTube, so appreciate you guys watching on YouTube. And hopefully this week we can get the preview of the matches coming up for game week 2. And yeah, we have that out on, before the matches this upcoming weekend. So yeah, have a good rest of your day, guys.
Yeah, so good.